Good afternoon. I'm Sidniacus. This is Drawing the Owl. I am the coffee that monkeys eat and then they poop out and they get the beans out of there. That's what I am, but like for RPGs. And today I'm doing a different thing. I'm doing a new thing, a special thing. So I was being an adult today, which is why my hair's washed and I'm wearing a clean shirt. And I was washing clothes down doing at the coin laundry, and I wanted to design a thing while I was down there because it sounded fun. And I got a little bit into it and had to bail. And I just came back and decided I was going to do it now with you, kind of a start to finish thing in about an hour. I reckon we can get this done. So first, we're going to talk about space that I'm sort of designing in, and that is I want to talk about something that was just released very recently, which is this one. Okay, doesn't get bigger than that. It's called Our Mundane Supernatural Life. It's by the Story Brewers, Haley Gordon and V. Hendro. It is a duet RPG with some really strong parts in it about mundanity and about really looking at like these very like intimate times that happen between two people in things that aren't always specifically really tense. Hey, Noelle is here. And she brought an owl with her, which is very wonderful. And people are responding to me about things, which is great. Okay, so Mundane Supernatural Life is going to be a really big inspiration for this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a lot from it as a base. That's part of how we're going to get something done in about an hour. I played it with correction, Noella. I played it with Ryan, and he was a water elemental, and it was a lot of fun. And if Noella, you or V or Haley have links, you should pass them on so I can put them in the description so people can see what Mundane Supernatural Life looks like being played. And I will post a link to the Story Brewers Patreon so that people can get it if they want it. It's absolutely wonderful, and I think it's really good. So we're going to talk about duets. Now, this is what we've got so far, which is not a lot, which is two characters meeting in a coin laundry once a month when their schedules overlap. I'm thinking about this card mechanic. I want to talk about that in a sec. But basically, what I want to talk about is like the push pull of people when you can't like explicitly communicate to them, communicate with them. Right. So what I kind of want to see is that period in a real. Oh, okay, there we go. Camera's back. That period in like the early stages of a relationship or whatever, where you're like, you don't know a person very well, and you don't know if they need space from you, or if you're just misreading them, and you don't know if they're into you or if you are sort of misreading that. So what I want to do is really play off this feeling of like people not knowing how each other feel, I guess. And I think I want to use cards for that. And the reason I want to use cards is that I played a game called Dust Wardens, Motorcycle Witches over at Gauntlet Con, which uses cards, and it was really different, right? Like it really showed this hidden information thing about like about like wanting to, because you draw your information, you hold it, and you can either show it to people or you can't. But the fact that you can hold it, whereas dice always tend to be played very open. When they're hidden, it's a very functionally different thing, like in Liar's Dice and stuff like that. Hey Asha, it's already going. I jumped into this real quick because today is Sid is an adult day, and so I don't have all the time in the world, unfortunately, which is why we're going to get this done really quickly. So I think one of the things I spoke about really early on with Homefront was that we should start with designing for the table, right? So let's start with cats. Back in seat, our central concept is two people meeting every now and then. And what's kind of the big thing? I think it's that like not sure how each other feels or how they feel about the other. Now, the thing about the sequential, or not sequential, the non-continuous chronology. The fact that we're going to have characters that are meeting once a month rather than like playing through a day in their life, like Supernatural Mundane does. Or even then, what Supernatural Mundane does about jumping between scenes and between times is that we're going to talk about starkly different, or can be starkly different between scenes. It's not like because you were sad in the last scene, you have to be sad in this one, right? That's the big thing. So our aim, what's our aim? Our player aim is going to be to explore the kind of awkwardness, or maybe the early state, the awkwardness, or the tentative nature of early relationships. Now, this is going to be a question that's going to come up really early. Is this a romantic relationship, right? That's I have. Let's be real about this. I have made so many goddamn games about romantic relationships. I'm making Partners, which is about queer cowboy, or about cowboy love. I'm making Wanted, actually, is what I'm calling it at the moment. That's fine. I made Matches to Paper Dolls with Jesse, which is very much about a romantic relationship, and I'm making this. And yeah, look, V, absolutely. when I played Supernatural Mundane and we did the roommates thing, it was such a different space to play in. You know what? Let's lead with it now. Let's lead with yeah, right. Let's do that. Let's lead with romantic relationships. Okay, cool. So our character aim then, now this is going to be really interesting. Our character aim is not just going to be to bone down, right? That's obviously a part of it, but we also want to look at to take care of oneself / be comfortable. That's the comfort thing is something that keeps coming up when I think about it. Tone is going to be kind of like awkward in public, like gender, honest, I think is what we're going for. And subject matter is again more of a table concern. Regards lines and veils and things like that, but we're probably looking at like the PG rom-com sort of is a good touchstone for that. Noella's never heard of Bone Down before. Well, I'm glad that I could introduce it to you as a part of your life. Okay. So, this is what we've got so far. Here's some sort of things I'm thinking of, right? We're each drawing cards. We're drawing cards like secretly, right? So we're drawing cards, hidden information. A red card means you're seeking intimacy. A black card means you'd like to be alone. We've got like a track for us and a track for ourselves, and then they kind of maybe mean different things as you go up and down the tracks. This is another thing. So I want to talk about timers. So, oh my God, Asha, comfy clothes, comfy self. That's so perfect. I do need to hit. I do need to hit like laundry day clothes, don't I? Comfy. All right, beautiful. That's so good. One of the things that happens in Supernatural Mundane is there's a timer. The O is just a box basically, right? Like it's just so this is how I draw tracks, and then when I need to mark the track, it'll be like that, and then if we moved up the track, that goes back to an O, and that one becomes an X. That's all kind of is. It's nothing particularly wonderful. So the O just spaces it out a bit better than having them empty. It's a bit easier in my head. So one of the things that happens in Supernatural Mundane or Mundane Supernatural Life is which way is it? Mundane Supernatural. I keep going the other way around. There's a timer. So you roll a d4 and you have that many minutes in which to do your scene. Now, I really like that. It creates really different pressures and really different, like I as a player felt very pressured by it. and I want to lean into that pressure, right? I want to run into this thing of like, we have to do something before time runs out. And I think a good way to do this is that there's a timer that one player can see but the other can't, and that timer represents like their washing machine counting down, right? Like their clothes dryer is counting down, and when it goes, they leave. And we can't stay and have the conversation when there are no clothes to be washed, because that's not the kind of relationship that we have. So we're going to have a timer. And the timer, so set a timer, one player can see, but the other can't. When it goes off, your laundry's done, it's time to leave. And that's going to be a per scene thing. And we're going to use, just because they've already done it for us, we're going to use the 1d4 plus 1 minutes that Story Brewers came up with. I still think that maybe 5 minutes is too long, and I still think that maybe 2 minutes is too short, but maybe that's the idea, right? That we're going to have pressure on both sides. I'd probably be more inclined to do 1d4 minutes and let 1 minute scenes be 1 minute. Even though 2 minutes feels really short, the threat of 1 minute would be huge. So there's a thought there. 1d4. But this is kind of this is worth marking as an A/B playtesting problem, right? This is something that we can talk about a lot in this stage of design, but we can't really figure out until we get down to playing it. And yeah, no, straight up, I just spent like an hour and a half doing mine, so I'm right with you on that 5 minutes thing. All right. Now, here's what I want to do. What I want, I need to get rid of this, because something I did that was wrong is I started doing specifics, and I need to get rid of that. So I want to look at outcomes, right? So I think what the actual core gameplay is going to be. I think the core gameplay is going to be us trying to figure each other out. So we talk to each other, and I'm trying to figure out if you have a black card or a red card without giving away what kind of card I have. And it's not about bluffing. It's about being scared to reveal your information because the other person could either leverage that against you, or could like not leverage it against you, but they could be scared off by it, right? And I think that's how we're going to do it. We're going to make playing the same card really positive. We're going to make playing negative cards really playing even negative cards together really positive. Negative. See, I need to get away from that because it's not negative. So outcomes. So 2 red cards, right? So 1 each is both characters really want to engage emotionally, which means they're going to grow closer, right? 2 black cards means both characters really want their own space, which means that we're going to grow more comfortable in ourselves. And then we're going to have a red card and a black card is going to be real bad, right? Because one character wants to push, the other is withdrawing, and so red character is not giving black card character their space, right? Which means we grow both further apart, and we also grow less comfortable in ourselves. We're not giving space for the other person to be there, right? So what I think there needs to be as well is I think there needs to be this thing of like, to stop just the cards that we draw defining this for us. I think we need this bit where we're like, one of us can play a card and the other person can't, and it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? About like a prisoner's dilemma, right? It's the prisoner's dilemma thing of let's find a table of Prisoner's Dilemma so that we can have it up. Cool. This is some high quality graphic design I've got right here. So what we've got is a if we both play our cards and we're both black cards, then we both do pretty well. If we're both red cards, we both do pretty well. If one of us is a black card and one of us is a red card, the other one gets screwed pretty highly. And then there's going to be this second level of thing about like, if I don't play my card and you play yours, I'm fine, but I'm fine, but you lose comfort because you engaged in emotional vulnerability with me and I didn't meet you on that. And I think that's going to be something. V, with a secret time, you'll need more time per scene. I think one of the reasons I'll definitely need more time per scene, V, is that I'm looking at a relationship that is by its very nature slow rolling and awkward. And I think it will feel really disingenuous if we have the scene start and characters want to just yell their feelings at each other. So there's a point to that as well. I mean, yeah, you're right. Only become clear with testing, and honestly, we're wasting our time on it at the moment. Oh, thank you. These are my blue earrings. I like them. I can wear them at work because they're like moderate enough. Okay. V, you agreeing about the timer or my earrings? Because I'm super on board for both. Oh, not that one. We want to show this one here. Here. Okay, cool. Okay. So we've got so showing a red card with no card returned, and we've got black card, no card returned. So at the moment we've got two economies, right? So let's talk about economies. We've got two economies, one of which is how we feel with each other. The other is how I feel in myself. More accurately, how we feel in ourselves. Ourselves. So these two economies are going to be the big thing, and I think yes. So Asha, this is really interesting. This is going to come down to card, how are cards distributed. We're going to pin that for now because I have two ideas that I want to talk to when we get there. So showing a red card with no card return. So Asha, this is actually really important for how I design. What we're doing now is what I call core loop. We're doing the core mechanical interaction of the game. We're figuring out the exchange of economies, because once we have that exchange down, everything else will fall into place. Once we figure out whether it's a strategic decision to play a card or whether it's random or interesting or whatever, then we decide whether we give out a certain number of cards or hold a certain number of cards or whatever, right? We make a decision. So what we're going to do is just really nut out this core loop first, and then we're going to go on to distributing cards, which I think is like if there are like rings of design, I think that the core, like if we create this second ring and then we figure out that our core actually needs to be a bit bigger, then the second ring can't expand to facilitate it. But if we create our core first and we figure out exactly what size we want it to be and exactly what shape we want it to be, then we can build a second ring that fits that. And that's what we're going to do with how we distribute cards. So, and it's the same reason we're not going over the what the actual tracks look like or what that is at the moment, because this is the important thing. So showing a red card with no card returned, I think when you show a red card and nothing's returned, you definitely grow further apart as a couple. And you definitely, let's do this. Let's do this really. Oh, you know what? Let's get out of this and into this. Let's talk about outcomes. So I've got red, red. We've got black, black. Red, nothing. That's the other thing, isn't it? Black, nothing. There's nothing, nothing, right? I think I need a way around that, but we'll figure it out. So, the other question we need to talk about is whether there is a difference between a red black and a black red, whether order is going to matter. I don't think it does. I don't want it to. But we're going to figure it out. Okay, cool. So the impact on the couple and the impact on the self. Let's call it impact on the first self and impact on the second self, because I'm not sure if there's going to be like a, you and me thing about this, right? So we'll figure this out. So impact on the couple. So we said we grow closer. We've already decided that. The black, we've already said we grow. No, we've already said we more comfortable. And we're going more comfortable, right? Red, black, we need to grow apart. And we need to get less comfortable. So this is going to be the worst case scenario, right? Is that I think maybe this is our worst case scenario, right? So what if we, worst case scenario, query. So what we need to decide is what's going to happen when nothing's played. So I think the first person that plays this, they have to get less comfortable in themselves, right? And I think this person has to get more comfortable because they don't. This is something I've gone through in Homefront before about like the person who does the emotional labor is the one who suffers if the other person doesn't meet them on it. So I think that has to be true, where the person who does put their card out there gets, and the person who doesn't benefits themselves. And I think that the couple, how are they impacted by? I think in this one they grow apart, right? Because no one even tries. Now, maybe in this one there's no impact. And I think that no impact is a really interesting thing there, because it means that you can, as a player, if you're like, okay, I do need to go back. I wanted you to see my pretty face for a bit, but I do need to go back. So I think what it does is, okay, I'll tell you what, let's do this, and make these green, and do this, and this, and make these red. And then we'll do these and make them orange. Okay, so what we're seeing now is when I play a red card, if you have a black card in your hand, your decision is, okay, so here it's always better in each instance for the black card to be held rather than played. So we need to change that. We need to make playing the black card something. We need to make it better in some way. How do we make it better? Maybe in this one, there's no impact. In this one, we grow apart. So now your decision, if I play a red card and you're holding a black card, the decision you're making is, do I keep my black card and make myself more comfortable and screw you and each other, or do I play it and we both suffer a little bit? But you know what? Maybe we do grow a bit closer here, right? Like maybe we do. Maybe both playing cards, maybe the fact that we're both communicating, right? Even though we're not communicating on the same level, even though you want your own space and I want to engage with you, the fact that I'm playing the red card and saying I want to engage, and the fact that you're playing the black card and saying I don't want to engage, does bring us closer, because we signal our feelings to each other, and that's what it's about. Okay. What do you think? Yeah, I think so. I'm happy to hear thoughts on that a lot. Okay, let's do that. So this will be orange. Royal Palace. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what are we doing? So black red, I honestly think is just the same, right? Like it's got to be the same. It doesn't matter what order they're played in. I think it's very uninteresting to talk about the order, but that's fine. So what happens when we play red? Do we get more comfortable in itself or less comfortable? Maybe there's no change here and no change here. So red. So if we have red cards, it's good to play them unless the other person has black. In which case, if we have a red card and the other person has a black card, I need to do this. That'll work. Let's go for gray. And these can be purple. Boy, that is not a good color spread. Blue, maybe? Okay. So if I have a red card, the only time I definitely want to play it, the only time I want to play a red card is when you have a red card, i.e., the only time I want to open up emotionally is when I'm sure that you're receptive to it, right? If I have a black card, then the only time I want to play it is if I'm sure that you're wanting a black card. Okay. So, and the only time I want to hold a card is when I know that yours is different and I'm okay to sacrifice us. Right. Okay. So grow apart, less comfortable. This is neither of us showing our cards is the worst case thing, right? That sucks for everyone involved. So I think this is no change. I think this is no change. I think this is no change. Literally no one. I have people here watching in my chat, and no one is making this easier for me because no one is telling me what's a good idea. You're the worst. Save me from myself, please. I absolutely need this. Okay. So we've got our outcome sheet. Oh, that's the other thing that we want to talk about too, is simplicity of outcome. Okay. So let's collapse this down into like real simple 1, 2, 3. So we collapse these down into one outcome. We can collapse these two down into one outcome. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 5 different outcomes. That's okay. 5 is okay. So let's move forward. We now have our paste unlinked. Okay. Cool. We now have our economies and our outcomes, right? So how are cards distributed? So there are 2 choices. So Asha, this is a really, really good point. This is going to get down into a really interesting design decision. And with V here, I can say this, that I think that that is something that we would definitely see in a Storybrewers game, where we would not have cards. You would decide at the end of the thing, if people spoke their feelings, then tick, and if people didn't, then do something else. But I don't design that way. I design with mechanics to facilitate play. Storybrewers tend towards opportunities for strong play that feeds back into mechanics, I guess. Like oh boy, I don't have the time to break this down as deep as I want, but if you have a look at the difference between what Partners looks like and what Good Society looks like, and you'll see what I mean there. Where like in Good Society, Rumor and Scandal is very much based on did you do this in a thing? You know, did play bring out this in the text of play that we can then tick into a mechanical box. Whereas in Partners, it's very much about this mechanical box is ticked, and therefore you have to engage with this scene. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's how I like to design, because it helps me as a player. So, what are we up to time-wise? We're about 30 minutes in. Okay, so we're not going too bad. Yeah, probably not going to get our thing done in time, but that's okay. We're doing good. So how are cards distributed? So there are two options, I think. And Asher, this is where I need you in on this. We're either going to have dealt hand of X cards, right? So we can either have 12, like one for each scene, or we can have like maybe you're dealt 6 and then 6, or 3 by 4, something like that, right? Like so, that'll be one decision, and then our other way of distributing cards is drawing one for each scene. Now, one thing I would like to do is I would like to, if we do this at the beginning, it gives us a more holistic view of character, right? I know who my character is because I've drawn 12 cards and I've seen that my character is particularly closed off. Drawing one for each scene removes control of feelings. So this is going to come down to definitely what do we want to say in this game? What do we want this game to be about? Do we want it to be about people who can who maybe want to be closed off at the start and then have big things, or like where people are reading each other and being like, I think I'm ready to open up to you now, so I'm going to start playing some red cards? Or do we want this to be like, sorry man, I'm just not feeling it today, like I've pulled out the black and it's just, I just don't have it? I think the choosing cards, the drawing 12, is more interesting from the start for me. So we're gonna say we're gonna use this one for now, right? We're gonna do 12, one for each scene. I don't actually know about 12. I did 12 because I wanted it to be like once a month, or maybe it can be like, you know, you meet once a week and we only do 4 scenes or whatever. All right. So scene purpose. So the way a scene works is, okay, this needs to go onto anything. The way a scene works is first, each, so it's each character plays a card face down, right? That's their feelings for the scene, their vibe for the scene. Then we have one player, that's one player. One player sets a timer that they know can see, but the other cannot. They are already mid-laundry when the other character arrives. Rotate players. That should be their character, not they. Then their so play out scene, feel each other out. Before the timer goes off, is players reveal or don't reveal their card. Consult outcomes chart. That should be done here. Timer goes off. No, this should go down to here. Consult outcomes chart. If neither card is played by now, it's too late. You miss your opportunity. Wait until next month. If either card is not played by now, it's too late. All right, cool. So this is their game. This is what play looks like. That's it. So that's our scene progress. So what is our character generation process? Is I think what if you draw 13 cards and use the first one to define your character gen? Or you draw 14 cards and use the first 2 to define your character gen? That's interesting. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do credits. We're going to do okay, great question, D. Okay, reveal or don't reveal a card. What needs to happen to allow a reveal? i.e., the question this is really asking is what is the fictional implication of a mechanical reveal? I think it's got to be you need to explicitly state your character's emotional needs, right? So the PBTA move would be when you explicitly state your needs, your emotional needs for closeness or distance. Play a card. Play a corresponding card. Play your corresponding face down card. Right? So what that looks like in a scene to me, right, is V, hey, it's good to see you here. Oh, I see you've got basketball shorts. You must play basketball. Yeah, I actually, injured my thumb playing basketball the other day. Oh, that's interesting. I've never played, but I did play netball, and I'm a very good wing attack. Okay, and we're just sort of feeling each other out, and then in my Sid V /Vic, I look over and be like, hey, you should tell me when you're playing and I'll come watch you sometime. And I have explicitly stated that I want to be closer to you, right? I want to spend more time with you. So I flip over my red card and I go, bam, this is me. And you, having a black card and having a need for comfort, you don't say anything. You're just like, sure. You don't explicitly state your needs, so you don't reveal your card. And then I realized that I fucked myself. And this game is going to be so much fun. This game is going to have so much heartbreak and so much fun. I'm all about this. See, Asha, that's a really interesting question. And the answer is I don't know. Oh, V. Oh, savage. That is painful. Asha, that's really interesting. I don't know. I don't know if that would foreshadow future cards that people will play. I don't think so, because I think as I was saying at the start of this, I think you may have just missed it, Asher, was because this is set on like a monthly timeline, the relationship doesn't need to feel continuous. Just because we had that really awkward moment that time, it doesn't mean we never get to speak again, right? It doesn't mean that we just we choose a different laundry thing, right? And we never see each other again, because that's not how relationships work. That's not how passing by relationships work in my projection. So back to this, because of time more than anything. I can't believe you savaged me on that bye week. I thought there was something special between us. I had a red card and everything. Okay, so when you explicitly state your emotional needs for close enough distance, you play your face down card. If you do neither, it remains unplayed. Or if you don't, right? If you don't say it, you don't play it. Now, say here is very much a characters can express this through subtext, not necessarily. It's just, oh god, that fell apart so quickly. Not necessarily through words. So this might be maybe I say I'd like to come watch your basketball game, and you like giggle and look away and play with your hair, and you're like, that's me expressing my needs. I'm receptive and I like that, and it's niceness, so I'm going to play it. I like the idea of it being explicit communication, because I have a lot of problems with not like with reading people's emotional states through things other than words. I'll say it again. People have said to me before, Sid, that feelings are like my heroin, but instead of shooting it, I just yell them at people. So I'm kind of okay with, if you don't say it, you don't play it. Anyway, character gen process. So what does character gen look like? So character gen looks like this. You're going to take 14 cards, right? You're going to put 2 of them in front of you, and they are going to describe your character. By suit, maybe, because it gives me more options than by color. Okay, let's figure this out. So suit, adjectives, maybe questions. So we've got hearts, diamonds, clubs, states. Oh, clubs. Maybe go back questions, right? So we say clubs is who have you lost from your life recently? And what how do you fill the space they leave? Swear to God, if you don't overflow text, yes, that's what I like to see. And I'm getting blown up on these. Oh, I just quickly need to RSVP to Haley's games, because otherwise I'm gonna miss them. What a moment. Let's do that through here. Okay, so yeah, so maybe that's what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna do we're going to do questions. Now, the benefit to questions is that it gives players more space to express. If I say, like, the fact that you have a diamond, the fact that you're playing a diamond means that your character is wealthy, is kind of less interesting. If we say the fact that you're Yes. Okay, I got in all Haley's games. Now we can go back to this. Okay. Does anyone have any good ideas for questions here, right? Like, who have you lost in your life recently? How do you feel the space they leave? Spades would be uh I don't know. Why do you have so much free time? I don't know. That's bad. That's bad. I don't know. I want like uh what troubles have you had with money recently? Um yeah, okay. Asha, we need spot on. Okay. Um uh uh um uh what are you washing that shows us you've lost someone from your life recently? From your life. And how does it show us the way you fill the space they leave? Wow, this is first draft text, if nothing else, right? What troubles have you had with money recently? No. This is what are you washing that shows us and how you fill the space they leave? What are you washing that shows us? Man. Okay. What are you washing that shows us you have shows us who is important to you? Shows us who is important to you. Who is important in your life? What are you washing that shows us who is important in your life? What are you washing that shows us? Okay. So we're gonna do character generation in 2 steps, right? So we're gonna have this one, and then we're going to we're gonna do it again. I need one more line. Okay, so we're gonna do this is what do you look like? This is what's important to you. Oh, come on, that's bomb. Thank you. And then maybe another one, right? That's like, what do you look like? What do you? Oh, what do you fill your life with in abundance? What are you washing that shows us what you fill your life with in abundance? Wow, these are really bad, but we're gonna like in terms of just the text construction, but we're gonna fix them up later. I absolutely promise. So this is a system called credits, or that I'm calling credits, right? Which is really pointed questions that ask you to express your character in a single scene or image or vignette, right? And I always go back to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer intro, where like you see Willow reading a book, and you see Giles adjusting his glasses, and you see Buffy punching Spike, and you see Spike attacking a woman, and you're like, beautiful. No, see, this is the thing, V. This is the thing. I don't think double ups are a problem. I don't think so, because the idea is, oh no, are you talking about? So we're going to say, what are you like? What are you washing that shows us what you find beautiful at yourself? What are you washing that shows us about your ambitions and joy? About your ambitions. What are you watching that shows us who you wish you were. Okay, so these two are too close, so we're going to change that one to about what are you watching that shows us? Oh man. Okay, that's cool. What are you watching that shows? Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to this is okay. This these are our secrets, right? We're gonna go back to the questions in Homefront about the relationships, and then we're gonna. Oh, where is Homefront? I know I had Homefront close. August Homefront primer. There we go. We're going to go back to Homefront. We're going to steal them from there because I'm nothing if not unoriginal. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really glad we're all doing this together. This is very exciting too. Okay, August Homefront primer. So we've got these. How do you show me what makes me special? How do you show me where you see us? How do you show me what I can do to make you happy? What makes you feel beautiful? What part of you has been left unchanged? Regrets? How someone hurt you? Who you'd rather I was? What terrible part of the war unearthed? Okay, so we're going to do stuff like this. I think there's also fill them out as well, right? What's troubling you, maybe? What you're trying to hide from me? Okay, so what are you watching that shows us what you find beautiful about yourself? What are you watching that shows us what you've most recently changed about your appearance? For someone else? No. Homefront. Homestar Runner is, oh boy, it's been a long time, Asher, since I got involved in Homestar Runners. V, you said ace in the chat, which I love because I don't know if you're talking about drawing an ace or if you're talking about something else. What are you watching that shows us? That shows us who you wish you were. What are you watching that shows us? What you've changed about yourself, what you've changed for someone else. You're watching that shows us what you've changed for yourself, what you've changed to yourself. What's important to you shows us who is important to you. No, so this isn't what's important to you. This is your what would we call it? Your like actions, right? So there's what you look like. There's what you do. So what are you watching to show us is important in your life? What are you watching that shows us what you fill your life with in abundance? Wow, that's bad. What are you watching that shows us you've lost someone for your life? Shows us you're filling space for someone you've lost. What are you watching that shows us we're going to come back here. Stuck somewhere. When it shows us you're stuck. All right, that's good enough for now. And then maybe a third one. Like maybe it's worth a third one, which is like, what would you do after what people look like? Well, let's go back to Supernatural Mundane because they do a thing. They talk about how your supernatural problems and relationships. So they've got four. They've got problems, relationships, and things. We've got what you look like and what you do. Maybe it's like how you first met or something like that. So we're not. Are we seeing characters? No, we're not seeing characters when they first meet. Or maybe we are. Oh, okay. We're getting to the point where we have to make decisions about things, and that's really frustrating. How we met. I know. Wait, I've already got it. This is going to be called How I Met Your Mother's Laundry. What are you washing that shows us you remember me? What are you washing that shows us? Oh, that's not a bad idea. Where you are. See, that's a good one. Interesting. Where are we? What are you washing that shows us? Issue is because I'm doing this year round, I can't do like what are you watching that shows like the weather or the temperature or whatever because I kind of don't. But I don't want it to be like hearts is what country you're in and blah blah blah. And I want it to be like what are you watching that shows us we're in a hot climate or a desert or whatever, right? I think I want to be like what do does the city is the city important? Is like the location important? And it's also weird because I'm stuck in this what are you washing thing, which means that I've got to like really frustrating. Okay, I'm actually just going to leave it out, and if we need it, we'll get to it in playtest, right? We'll figure it out because someone in playtest will be like, I don't feel like we're fleshing this character out enough. But I think between here and there, we've got enough. So I think these two are pretty good for now. Go back, close. We're going to do each character's going to draw 14. No, see, actually, that's the thing is these dates are happening wholly within the coin laundry, right? Like it's a coincidental engagement. It's not we're not meeting up and deciding to spend time together. It's just that our schedules tend to overlap once a month, and we just end up in the same location. Which we can sort of describe that, but we can do that in the scene, I guess. So take 14 cards, put 2 of them in front of you. They're going to describe your character by suit. So the question is, why wouldn't I just put 2 black cards in front of me? Because black cards tend to have worse outcomes than red cards, right? Oh no, that's not true. Black cards are how you get more comfortable in yourself by spending time in. Okay. We can do this. We can do this. So that's why. Because if you only keep red cards and the other person keeps any black cards at all, you're pushing them away. Right. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Take cards, 2 cards, both they're going to answer the questions asked by suit, which we have. No. Take cards, put 2 in front. Then we're going to say, turn 1 card over. It's going to be choose 2 of them to put in front of you, face down. Turn 1 card over. When we turn 1 card over, we're going to say, describe what your character looks like. Name, pronouns, etc. Answer the question. by suit. And number 3 is going to be the other other player does the same. Turn the other card over. Describe as much as you'd like about characters, background, etc. Answer the question. Suit. Other player same. And then we what do we do then? We draw out we make space for 12 cards for 12 pairs of cards to be placed on the table. This is all the really boring stuff, right? The functional stuff. One for each month. Now we're going to say one player starts by rolling a d4, I guess. Rolling a d4, describe number of minutes, set a timer for that many minutes. Set a hidden timer for that many minutes. Begin scene. Second character describes entering. Be damn cute shit. Then this is super boring. This is super not fun, this part of it. Then play cards or don't. I'm not your fucking dad. 12 cards when timer goes off. Same. I think for me, the timer doesn't get started until the second player describes entering. So it's when second player enters the scene, start timer. Do damn cute shit. Then play cards when characters express feeling. Or don't. I'm not your fucking dad. Resolve cards when timer goes off. So now we need to talk about tracks and resolution and stuff like that, right? We need to talk about the economies of this thing. So that's a little bit more interesting from my perspective. So let's do that. So we're going to go over here. So economies. Okay. What we need. We need both economies to be beneficial. We need the detriment of one. See, they don't necessarily need to affect each other because their interplay can happen entirely around the cards, or it can happen during it. Now, I think what we need to do for this is just to get it functional, and then when V comes to visit me on the weekend, we'll play, and we will figure out whether the economy is into play or not. There's no point me and Asher V and Noella sitting here and butting our heads together about this, about what these economies should look like until we've actually set it out to play. So let's just do that. Let's just get 2 economies on the table and just make them do a thing, right? So we've got economies. So the first one is going to be called couple, and then the other 2 are going to be called comfort. Comfort. They can both be the same. So we've got 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Checkbox. And couple can have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 again. Do you think? Maybe like 7. Let's try 5 and just see. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. We have 12 months that we're doing. We're doing 12 scenes at the moment. So if we have 12 scenes, then we need to make sure. This is where it gets really interesting. We need to make sure that we can move up and down it a little bit and still get there. But it's not like if the first 5 scenes happen, we just do really well and then we don't play through it. Oh, maybe we do. That's really interesting. Maybe it's 11 scenes and the 12th one is a date. That would be cute. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's either a date or it's. Oh, that's okay. That's fun. That's fun. Okay. So the 12th one is going to be either a date or a. Yeah, okay. So let's go for 5. Because 5 lets us. What are the chances that we're going to get red, which is the only way we can grow closer? The chance we're going to get red is 25%, right? The chance we're going to get black is 25%, and the chances that we're going to grow apart is actually considerably higher. These two are 50% between them. That's 25 and 25, right? So 50% between them means that need it to be a little bit less than 50-50 that characters are actually going to hit this, because unless we do, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it 5, even though that might be a little bit too quote unquote easy to begin with. Oh, not date, checkbox. And then we're going to say, if we hit this one, 12th one is a date. Well, actually, what about next scene is the last one, and a cute AF date. And here we're going to say next scene is not next scene is, we're going to say just if we don't get this. If we don't get this in the time, then that's what it is. So we start here, whereas with this one, I think we start here. And then when we get to here, we actually -1 couple and reset your comfort. And if we get to here, we actually +1 couple and reset your comfort. So, what am I looking for? Format, text wrapping. Man, my Gauntlet con was pretty much just setting up text wrapping on everyone's character keepers. Start there. Okay, cool. So, there, that's our economies. That's a functional economy. Done. So I think the only thing we need to do now is outcomes. So not outcomes, epilogues. Epilogues. If you reach +5 couple, your next scene is an epilogue scene. Play a date out at the end side together. Set a timer that you both can see, maybe. At the end, decide together if this relationship continues by playing a red or black, by playing a red card, or doesn't by playing a black card. This means that you might get to the end and it might be perfect, but you just don't have the spoons to continue the relationship. That is an outcome I'm totally okay with, and it's going to feel like shit. And you know what? As someone who has had to pull out of relationships because I haven't had the spoons, that is, I'm okay with it. If you reach the 11th month without hitting +5 couple, your next scene is an epilogue scene. play out the last time you both go to the laundry. Set a timer that you both can see. At the end, side together. If you keep going to this laundry to see each other only in passing, or if you find another space, be alone. Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, we just wrote a game. At the moment, it's called Coin Operated. I don't like that name, but I also don't have a better one at the moment. So that's it. We did it. We made a game. We made a game in an hour and 20 minutes, I think. An hour and 10. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Who wants to play this with me? I guess is my next thing. In my own time, I'm going to cut together this into a proper rule set that like I can print out. But honestly, I'm really happy with this as it is. I don't think the economies are good, but I think they're interesting. And I think that the card mechanic's interesting. And I think that overall it says something, and it's a really, really interesting yeah, I think it's a really interesting game. The only thing I'd really like to do to change, to make different, is like maybe when you go above or below the comfort thing, you have to answer a question, and the questions are stuff like the home front questions, right? About like who would you rather I am, and maybe I'll just throw that in, right? Like when you go out the bottom of your comfort track, you have to ask one of these really pointed questions about like, tell me, how do you show me a regret that you have about me, or how do you show me who you rather I was, or and that's got to be put into the next scene. That is an interesting thing to do though, and we'll look at that in the future. But at the moment, I think this has worked. I think that I think we got it done. I think that we have Coin Operated, a game about coincidental meetings and strange expressions of emotions. The things it needs now is A/B playtesting, and it needs to be set out a little bit better. But that's okay. That is an hour and 20 minutes making a functional game about cute people that get to do smooches. And I tell you what, if you've had a more productive afternoon, I'm exceedingly proud of you. Oh boy. Okay. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. The next step for this will be in my own time, and then I'll probably play an offline game of it first, unless I can kind of catch someone tonight, someone gauntletty tonight that wants to play it with me. Otherwise, I'll do an offline one over a beer with maybe Haley and V at PAX, and then we will come back and talk about it. Let's go for next week. We'll go for next week, maybe Monday or Wednesday around the same time, to see if we can make it better. But until then, I'm really happy with this. I don't know. I like it, and I hope you like it too. I want to put out a massive thank you to you, Asher, UV, you, Noella. The three of you are amazing. It was great to have you here. I hope that you can all see the mark that you left on this game, because it's just so great designing with other people like this. And I hope that maybe one day you'll play it with me. As for everyone else out there, maybe you can make your own things too, and that would be really fun. And then maybe we can play them together, and it would be a joy. But until that time, the big thing I need you to do is to keep on giving a hoot. I love you.